Hello and welcome to a battle report for Operation Edgelord, a long-running narrative campaign hosted by Bromad Academy. The mission matchup between Nomads and PanOceania for August is the Brawl. The Brawl is a mission from the Bromad Academy mission system they created and are using it for their campaign. The objectives for this mission are: first player to activate the center console, 1 objective point. To dominate the objective room, 1 objective point. Now normally it's at the end of each round, however for this month it is the end of each turn, and I'll explain in the next slide. Having more activated consoles than your opponent at the end of the game for 2 objective points. Have the same number of active consoles as your opponent at the end of the game is 1 objective point. And to have more enemy victory points in dead state within the objective room at the end of the game is 2 objective points. So in other words, you have to kill your opponent's troopers inside the objective room to gain this objective. And the more you kill, or the more points of enemy you kill, obviously gives you the objective points. And each player has 2 classifiers each, and for each completed objective they are worth 1 objective point. So there are certain rules for this month of August in 2024, and I'm not sure if it will apply to later games or if it just applies for this month. However, for August there are some rules that to make the missions and the game mechanics slightly different. So normally this mission has end of round scoring. However, for this month we are using end of turn scoring. And I've heard of end of turn scoring before, but I've never actually used it. And for this game, I like the balance this game mechanic provides for dominating zones of operations. It makes the focus of the mission more on dominating the zone and less on the other objectives. And that is because more points can be scored. The game mechanic for interacting with objectives and certain objects is a lot better than the normal RTS mechanic. Normally specialist troopers get a +3 modification to their whip and an extra roll. Whereas for this one, a trooper can spend an entire order to activate the console or objective, and a designated specialist trooper can just do a whip roll as a short skill, alongside a short movement skill. So I certainly found this useful during the game. For example, my Evader moved into contact with the console and rolled a whip, and failing it, because I'm already in silhouette contact, I could just spend an entire order and activate that console. This penalizes me for 1 regular order, yes, but instead of continuously choosing to idle and whip roll, and if I have unlucky dice, then I'll just waste orders. Whereas for here, I could just spend 1 entire order and continue on with the game and have orders left over to focus on the mission. And Dominate and Subjugate are added game mechanics, and for this mission, Dominate was the only one necessary. So here's the game table layout. The other consoles, which are the fluoro green markers, they're further apart than was provided on the BAM's diagram, and I did this accidentally because the mission stated the outside consoles are 6 inches away from the center console, and I interpreted this to mean 6 inches from console edge to console edge, whereas the diagram stated the outer consoles were 18 inches from the table edge. So after realizing this, I corrected it, but then decided against it. I think having the outer consoles further away made the game more open and less clumped together. The end of turn scoring for claiming or dominating the objective room made the focus more on dominating the objective room than activating the consoles. So here's my list for the mission. I built it purposely for the Brawl, and it was the first time I used Jaguars and wanted to see how they worked. And I chose them because I wanted a trooper that could fight back against Teutonic Knights, and they're the only ones capable when looking at their stat line. So in Group 1, the Jaguars and the Lobo created a Correctional Hz fire team, and in the photo there, the 3 troopers on the left. And they were supported by an Evader with Spitfire, who was also an engineer, and he had a Zonbot, and that was just to help control the midfield and provide cover for the Correctional Hz team. The Sombra was there to provide some midfield camouflage and killer hacking shenanigans. And the Mobile Brigada were used as individuals, not in a fire team, basically just to keep the enemy heads down and prevent them from easy movement across the table. In Group 2, there was a core fire team of Aqua Seals with Lupe Balboa, and she's counted as an Aqua Seal, so it was a pure core fire team of 3 troopers. And Lupe was in there mainly as a Plan D specialist to activate consoles and to provide smoke. The War Core was there just to provide flash pulse and be a nuisance and arrow. And the core fire team was mainly used to provide orders for the Digger, which was a backup to the Jaguars after the Knights entered the objective room, and just to basically help out trying to reclaim the objective room if needed. And here is my opponent's army list. During the game, the Trinitarian with multi-sniper rifle and the Teutonic Knight with missile launcher proved to be quite annoying, and you'll see that in the game. Now onto the game. I won the lieutenant role and kept initiative. I decided to have the first turn. My opponent kept deployment and chose to deploy second. Here is my deployment zone and the location of my troopers. The Correctional Hz fire team was in the middle with the intent to move up and secure the objective room. The Evader was there to provide support with his armor-piercing Spitfire and to activate any consoles. The Mobile Brigada was individually spread around just to be a heavy infantry presence and to control fire lanes and to make it difficult for my opponent to move forward. The core fire team of 3 Corregidor Alguacils, because Lupe Vortex is considered Alguacil, were just there to do the typical core thing and just castle up. War Core was there to record the whole battle and make sure any war crimes that are committed are reported to the human sphere. And the Digger was there to be a Plan B and backup to any assaults happening on the objective room. So round 1, my turn. The War Core failed to flash pulse the Teutonic Knight whilst taking a nice picture of him. And the Correctional Hz moved forwards and threw the smoke down to cover the middle corridor. The Evader moved up towards the objective room and placed D-charges on the gate. The Evader made an explosive entrance and activated the center console. The Correctional Hz moved into and secured the objective room by occupying the corners and covering the gates. Lupe tossed a smoke grenade over the stairs and was actually successful, which is the first time ever since I've used her. And the Alguacil core fire team moved under cover of smoke towards my HVT. And that was to get her into position to be a backup to secure the right, or activate the right console. So this turn I activated the center console first, so I scored 1 objective point, and I dominated the objective room at the end of this turn, scoring 1 objective point. My opponent's turn. The Teutonic Knight with missile launcher climbed down from his building and engaged the War Core and killed him. Now, post edit, we both realised that this was an illegal move. It should have just been an entire order and moved down, but it was played as a move short skill. Anyway, it didn't really have too much of an impact on the game. Keeping in the narrative, the Nomad Nation finds the murder of innocent journalists a war crime and has reported this unacceptable behaviour by the military orders to O12. War correspondents are protected and are to provide honest and transparent reporting of conflict in the human sphere. Clearly the Knights want to prevent their actions from being portrayed to the public. I wonder what their sinister agenda is. Probably supporting the EI. Continuing on the battle report, the Teutonic Knight fire team moved around the fallen sniper tower to move the missile launcher Knight into position to future engage my Mobile Brigada. The Teutonic Knight with missile launcher engages the Mobile Brigada with missile launcher, who returns fire, and they both missed. A Trinitarian with multi-sniper rifle reveals himself and engages the Mobile Brigada with missile launcher. The Mobile Brigada decided to dodge, but received a hit. Luckily, her armor protected her and she had the courage to stand her ground. A Trinitarian moved to the nearest console and activated it. The Trinitarian multi-sniper rifle engaged the Marlboro Brigada with the missile launcher again. The Trinitarian scored 1 wound and she went into cover. The Crusade fire team, which was a Harris consisting of, I'm not sure how to say it, but Jeanne d'Arc or Jeanne d'Arc, DeFerson, and a Knight Hospitaller with a HMG moved towards the objective room. The Teutonic Knight fire team moved also to the objective room, stacking up against the wall, ready for a breach. The Order Sergeant Hacker attempted to oblivion the Evader in the center console. The Evader managed to reset his power armor and systems in time to avoid the attack. The Mulebot moved to the corner of the objective room. At the end of the turn, I scored another objective point for dominating the objective room. Round 2. The Digger wanted to get in on the action and Impetuous moved around the building. The Evader moved out of the objective room towards the nearest console, along the way resetting again against the Order Sergeant Hacker. The Evader activated the console and moved into cover, providing overwatch into the objective room. Lupe threw smoke to provide cover for the Digger. The Digger moved around and ended up in front of the open gate. The Marlboro Brigada with HMG moves forward into cover and engages the Knight Hospitaller with HMG. Both miss. The Trinitarian with multi-sniper rifle scores a hit and the Marlboro Brigada passed his arms over. The Marlboro Brigada with missile launcher moves forward and shoots the Trinitarian multi-sniper rifle and misses. The Trinitarian multi-sniper rifle hits back and the Marlboro Brigada passes her arm save. However, the Teutonic Knight with missile launcher scores a hit and the Marlboro Brigada enters unconscious. The Sombra climbs down into cover and is discovered along the way. She recamos and moves forward only to be rediscovered again. Now she has a killer hacker device and attempts to perform Trinity against the Order Sergeant Hacker, and she succeeds in hitting, but the Order Sergeant passes her BTS save. The Aguasil Core Fire Team move a little to the left so Lupe can be ready to activate the right console. At the end of the turn, I score another objective point for dominating the objective room. Opponent's round 2. The Trinitarian multi-sniper rifle takes aim and kills Lupe. Lupe is now dead. The Crusader Harris fire team moves forwards. The Hospitaller Knight with HMG engages the Marlboro Brigada with HMG a couple of times, and the Marlboro Brigada with HMG goes unconscious, which was actually a bit of a disappointment for me. Normally he lasts a lot longer. A Trinitarian places decharges on the gate, and it takes 2 attempts to blow the gate off. Jeanne d'Arc spends her lieutenant order, breaks the fire team, moves and shoots the Digger through the objective room, causing the Digger to go unconscious. So when shooting through a building, we have a house rule of applying a negative modifier of -3 to ballistic skill attacks. Shooting into and out of does not have a modifier, and it's just something that we have just for our little games. Some people prefer not to shoot through, but we decided to shoot through and just say, okay, it's -3, and it's just another modifier that stacks onto other modifiers. The Teutonic Knight fire team move into the objective room, and both the Teutonic Knights with light shotguns enter silhouette contact with the Jaguars. The Knights storm the objective room and attempt to dominate using their close combat skills. The Teutonic Knight on the right, circled in blue, is the team leader. The 2 Jaguars fight back. The Jaguar on the right goes unconscious. The Jaguar on the left scores a hit and causes 1 wound to the Teutonic Knight, and also puts him in isolated and immobilized B state thanks to his electromagnetic close combat weapon. And I've just discovered that this is the most useful Jaguar, because now I've just locked down heavy infantry, and I like it. The Lobo passes a whip check on the Teutonic Knight fire team leader, completing the Nomad faction secret objective. Thank goodness he was wearing a biometric visor. The Crusade fireteam reforms and moves. The Knight Hospitaller with the HMG shoots the Evader through the objective room and the Lobo inside the objective room. The Evader enters no wound incapacitation, goes prone while the Lobo enters unconscious. The Sombra performs Trinity against Deferson and causes him to lose 1 wound. A Trinitarian moves into silhouette contact with the right console and succeeds in activating it. At the end of this turn, military orders dominate the objective room, scoring 1 objective point. Round 3. I spend 2 command tokens and move the Aguasil Lieutenant and Aguasil Paramedic into Combat Group 1. The Sombra performs Trinity a couple of times against Deferson and fails. The Evader attempts to shoot the Teutonic Knight on the right a couple of times and fails. The Teutonic Knight on the right dodges into silhouette contact with the center console. The Jaguar on the left close combat attacks the isolated and immobilized Teutonic Knight and also manages to kill him again. So the Jaguar scores 20 points for putting an enemy trooper into dead state inside the objective room. At the end of this turn, military orders dominate the objective room, scoring another objective point. Last and final turn. The Teutonic Knight activates the center console. However, after the game we discover this cannot be done because the Teutonic Knight is not a specialist trooper of any type. So the objective points at the end were recounted, and you'll see it at the end of the video. The Mule Bot moves towards my HVT. The Evader shoots it and puts the bot into unconscious state level 1. Deferson makes a bold rush towards my HVT, most likely trying to complete a secondary objective. Deferson fails to perform a whip roll against my HVT, and the Evader puts Deferson into unconscious state. Joan d'Arc moves into the objective room and engages the Jaguar on the left. They both score 19 and cancel each other out. At the end of the turn, military orders still dominate the objective room. And that is the end of the game. Now for the after action review. So here are the results of the game. For the first player to activate the center console, which was myself, scored 1 objective point. Dominating the objective room, we both scored 3 objective points each. For having the same number of consoles, it was 1 objective point each, and that was after we realised the Teutonic Knight was actually not a specialist trooper. So normally it would have been the military orders having more, but unfortunately it didn't turn out that way. Having more enemy victory points in the objective room in dead state, 2 objective points towards the Nomads. Neither of us completed any classified objectives, and Nomads were able to complete their faction secret objective for 1 objective point. So the total points is Nomads win 8 to PanOceania 4. So we both enjoyed the mission. It did not have too many objectives to focus on and ended up being balanced throughout the game. One aspect I liked was the mechanic of either opening all the doors or to reduce the gates to 0 structure and have only that door open. Definitely allowed for better tactical control of the objective room. Having all the gates open just makes it a shooting fest and hard to dominate. So by blowing open only 1 gate allowed me to control the objective room. And I really liked the end of turn scoring for this mission. It provided a balanced opportunity to earn objective points. If this was to follow the normal ITS scoring of end of round, I would have scored 1 objective point for dominating in the first round, and my opponent would have scored 2 objective points for dominating the objective room in the second and third round. So this game mechanic of scoring focuses the mission more on fighting over the objective room because more points can be earned, up to a total of 6 if one was to dominate for the whole game. And the entire order skill to activate a console or a short whip unmodified skill, the mechanic which involves the entire order skill to activate a console, or for a designated specialist, a short skill unmodified whip roll, definitely makes the game a lot better. This was a great mechanic for activating the second console, and it reduces the chance of failing multiple rolls which end up wasting orders. So well done for whoever created this mechanic. And that is the end of the battle report. Feel free to share your thoughts and observations of the game in the comments below. And also let me know if you're participating in Operation Edgelord and how your game's going. Thank you for watching, and may you have a good day.